Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Heaven on Earth. I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic, and this is where I channel the sacred guidance for this astrological week. And happy 2021. It's a new beginning in the 20s, and it is a powerful year. I'm telling you that already. It's an unpredictable year. How did you celebrate the New Year's, by the way? I hope you had a blast. And I hope you did it in a kind of Aquarian way where, this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is really about stepping up your game as humanity and stepping up your rules, but knowing the rules so well that you can break them. So I hope you celebrated the New Year's with respect and with, but still with a lot of people. Anyway, before I go there, the 9th of January, which is, next week or this week, Saturday, the astrological course starts. So teaching astrology 101 to you all to get to know the language of the stars. And we're starting always with your personal chart, when you were born, and to understand it fully and learn astrology from scratch. And it's really, it's as if you would have explained this to a child, and that's when you know astrology really well. And that's the whole point. We're not gonna go like deep into like all the aspects, and just the basics. And by doing the basics really well, that's where the sweet spot is. So I'll put the link down below in the description, and you can still sign up. There's some people already in the course, but there's still some room there for you. So I hope you follow along for the next. It's until the beginnings of February. There's like 1 or 2 weeks where there's nothing, but it's a 4-week course. So check it out, and hope to see you there to learn astrology together. All right. So the sun is in Capricorn, and that's just business. That is just structure. Okay. So everything is quite serious, and let's keep it real. It too is about. Let me just really quick. Yep. Okay. It's recording. Just making sure. I had too many problems with that. Anyway. So. Man, it's the institutions and the authority is definitely coming into play, and it has more, I would say, power in a way. And it's as if, even though we're in 2021, January for me, with this Capricorn energy, still feels as if we're still in 2020 in the madness. But as I said in my previous forecast, 2021 is going to become unpredictable. The most crazy year is freeing, liberating, starting, future, like buzzing energy. And it's going to be mad. It's going to be wild. If you thought 2020 was a wild ride, fuck. 2021 is 2020 is nothing in comparison to 2021. But okay, we're in Capricorn season, so whatever you need to do right now too, in terms of business, in terms of getting serious and, just getting structured, do it. Especially with this moon in Virgo, this is where there's such grounded energy. It's about practical, structured ways of doing. And moon in Virgo is about work. Sun in Capricorn is about business. But I gotta say, on Monday, when this forecast is posted, we got it squaring the nodes, opposing Neptune. Whatever you're trying to do too, is it's just really hard to fully get it done and to fully get it perfect unless you fully surrender and let Source deal with it. And the whole point too with this Neptune square the nodes is about, don't believe the story. Trust me. Neptune squared South Node in Sagittarius. This is a religious story being told, even though it doesn't look like it, because it's fucking Neptune. So, you're like, oh, what are you talking about? And that's the confusion in and of itself already. Neptune is spirit and is religion. I mean, it's not religion, it is just source. But, Sagittarius tries to, put a label on what source is. And then just, when it is South Node is there, there's like this karmic, manipulative, especially with Jupiter, Saturn, kind of energy behind it. And so, that's a story that they're telling you that is very likely not true at all. And so opposing that moon in Virgo is that where you try to get control over that whole story, where you try to get practical shit done, but where it's, technically impossible. So it's going to be so hard. But then there's a contrast. On Tuesday, Mercury conjoins with Pluto and the moon comes into Libra. And so now we're relating and Mercury is on Pluto. So whatever you're communicating, this has so much power. Like there's a force behind it. You have the ability to go deep and you have the ability to, weigh the options. You're gonna be, given opportunities. You're gonna have choices to make. And the Mercury and Pluto is just really about just penetrating and seeing where it is, and it's like bam. So Tuesday and Wednesday are beautiful days, especially Tuesday. But then the shit hits the fan when Mars comes into Taurus on Thursday. And it's funny in a way because, Mars has been going through a very tough period. And Mars is our actions, it's how we proceed and how we go get after what we want. And so, Mars in Taurus does not like to be there. It's actually one of the worst positions for Mars to be. And so whenever Mars gets into Taurus, it can't really express. It's crazy because the cat is going mad when I talk about this. So I think it's kind of a representation of what's about to happen, right? She just wants to get out. But that's what Mars in Taurus is. The cat wants to get out, but the doors are freaking closed. And now the cat is getting mad. And I even said on my Instagram live where, it's kind of like because Mars in Taurus is about physicality. So there's a lot of physical energy in a way that needs to get expressed. But Mars in Taurus is like you're running a marathon, but there's like all these people, in front of your feet, and just like they're running, like get the fuck out of here. It's very annoying in a way. And so we can get annoyed, and Mars in Taurus gets annoyed because it can't really express that aggression and that action. And so it's not the only thing. It's squaring Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. So that's enough reason already to get frustrated and to get really angry, to get really physical. And I think a lot of people are gonna get physical. But it's really about, for us, light workers, to think about how can we protect the earth and think about, Aquarian kind of themes where this is technology, this is group, this is community. How can we bring people together and fight for our freedom in a way and to, question the freedom? And that's going to happen on Friday where Mercury hits, Aquarius. We're going to start thinking free, thinking about rebellion, and it's going to hit in on our conscious mind, like, how can we get free? Fuck, and people are going to freak the fuck out. And especially with Uranus there, it's building up towards that conjunction, which happens less or more the 18th of January. So from now on until the 18th of January, you're only going to get people more angry, more unpredictable, more physical, more aggressive. Mars is a knife, Mars is a sword, and Uranus just like fucking cuts your head off. It's quite scary shit. And especially square Saturn, which is the government, which is authority, which is rules. We're going to fight the rules. People, there's this division. Man, the cat is going crazy. There's, I'm telling you, this is a physical representation of what's about to happen. Crazy shit, unpredictable. And it's going to get physical. There's going to be a lot of fights. And it's not only that, Aquarius is science. And so crazy scientific, shit happening. It's also technology. So 5 something and then put a G behind it. So you know what I'm saying? That's what is going to happen. Is like it's all of a sudden it's going to be spread out. But the crazy shit is that the moment Mars gets into Taurus, Moon gets exactly into Scorpio. And so it makes a T-square with Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius. So that to me is like manipulation, and it is intense, and it involves kind of like Scorpio is death and rebirth. So, and it's secretive. It's happening behind the scenes. And I wouldn't be surprised that we find out later that the whole G technology has been spread out all along, all the freaking time. And that, I think it's about for us to start asking the question. That's what the astrology is telling us. Where do you want this to go? Because it is definitely in conflict with the Earth, Uranus and Aquarius, that are in a different sign. So, technology in the future, what do you want the future to be? They need to be integrated, and that means nature needs to be integrated with the technology. But apparently, technology is taking over, and now it's having a bad aspect with fucking cat. Jesus, why now? Anyway, so it is having a bad aspect with nature. So there's a conflict here, and this is too, like, with this whole Capricornian energy, just the concept of time comes into the light. And so when you just then think, for instance, with the moon in Virgo and then the sun in Capricorn, right? It's getting down to work. But that happens, for instance, on a Sunday. Not a lot of people thinking about working on Sunday. Because why? Because that's the tradition. That's the way of doing things. And that's just Capricorn, Oh, it's Sunday. It's weekend. We shouldn't work right now. Let's just take some time off. And then Monday comes and you're like, oh. But that's just because some people decided to put days in the week and to put weeks and years and like time. And time, just looking at a clock, that's not a very old concept. We were measuring time by looking at nature, and that's what I'm saying. Technology took over in a way and started calculating and made it very mechanical. But it's time to start questioning whether the weeks and the months and whether we should still follow that, or we should have our own tempo, our own rhythm, and just instead of following a clock, to follow nature again, to follow the cycles of nature again. And I think with Jupiter, Saturn in Aquarius, that's an honest time to ask to start looking at astrology and maybe follow astrology in terms of cycles more and more. But and that's just what that's showing. And so it's building up towards Mars in Aquarius. Mars Aquarius conjunction there is very unpredictable, it's cataclysmic, and we haven't seen that in a very, very long time. 1900 something, 30, 40-ish. So what happened there, right? So I'm just saying, and it's quite scary. I find it quite I think there's definitely if you look at it from a 3D perspective, it should concern. But then still, you can always look at it from a 5D aspect, and we're in unpredictable times. So who knows? Light workers all of a sudden really just rise to the surface and really bring in the peace. But that's kind of Neptune square the nodes, me dreaming and telling a story to myself. But hey, if you tell the story really well, you might end up believing it, and it might end up, manifesting. Is that not what happened with the whole stuff? So it is interesting to see, what story do you believe? I talked about it when we were in Sagittarius season. So anyway, Mercury then comes into Aquarius, and we kind of see this new thinking energy, but then still the day after, Venus comes into Capricorn, and we have more of rules and traditions. So it keeps on being this very Capricornian, the old versus the new. So, in a way, yes, there's change, but the change is happening slower than normal, especially with Mars and Taurus, unless, until Mars comes conjunct Uranus, and then we're going to see shit hit the fan, trust me. And the cat just does not stop. She just wants my attention. So I don't know, that's there. Anyway, I think it is really, it's just funny. It makes me think of when we were doing the circles of light. The same thing happened, right? There's just so much chaos around you, and you just need to stay centered and focused. And no matter what is going on around you, if you're really determined to not let it affect you, it won't affect you. And that's the crazy thing. And I read that in the book God I Am, which is an amazing book by Peter Irby, From Tragic to Magic. It's just about the polarities and how to transcend the polarities and all of that. And how, when you place your judgment on the world, that's, where you get into good versus bad and into polarity. And, I think if you really decide to, this is what I want, this is what I stand for from love, and then that is going to be your truth. So that is that division too, that split in consciousness that happens with Uranus and Taurus squaring Saturn in Aquarius and Jupiter there. So, and now with Mars and Taurus, it's going to get physical. It's going to, that split in consciousness is going to become very, very physical. So to recap, we need to look at the concept of time. We need to look at the rules and the regulations, and look at our freedom, because there's this, we're getting accustomed to the whole mask thing and to the whole lockdown and not being able to travel and the curfew. But where is this going to end? And are we just going to, think about our liberty, about our freedom? Or, if we're going to allow Saturn and Aquarius play its game, it's only more restrictions and more restrictions until you have no freedom left. And you need to wake the fuck up and just remain critical. Keep looking with what's the right word? Critical eye, or critical point of view, and just keep waking the government up and keep waking authorities up and just saying, like, we're not okay with this and we're okay with that, but this is where the limits are. And I think with Mars and Taurus, boundaries are, especially with Uranus and squaring Saturn, are just being forced upon us. And it's the what, I mean, the freaking vaccine could be just like forced upon you with this from now on until the 18th of January. This is just like being jammed into your body. Technology just being forced upon us. Rules and regulations being forced upon us. Restrictions. it's not an easy time, but it's, you know, where there's dark, there's light. Where's where it's dark and where there's darkness, there's light. So more light workers rising to the surface and just becoming aware of your boundaries and your freedom. Where's the limit here? And do these concepts of time still work? And do we really need to get physical, or can we just, you know, gather our forces? Because Mars in Taurus is very alone, and it is squaring Saturn, and Saturn is more at home in Aquarius. Mars doesn't like, so Mars loses. So whoever does this alone loses. So you really need to think. You really need to know the rules really well to play with the game, to break them. But you need to do it together. That's the whole invitation here. So here's to that, and here's to just, you know, doing what needs to get done, and you know, these next 2 weeks, just plan, get structured, just follow the rules, but good enough so you can break them. And then in 2 weeks, oh boy, shit is gonna happen. Fuck. Looking forward to that, honestly, because it brings revelations, it brings light, it brings freedom. It's not always pleasant, but it needs to happen. Here's to that. Much love. See you next week, the Leo Mystic. Peace.